Hey up you wonderful people, my name is Kafrak, and I'm doing a video today that's a little bit different. Kind of a vloggy kind of talk and retrospective on the Overwatch Open Beta. Yes, I know, there's been a lot of Open Beta Overwatch content on the channel as of late, and that's because I really like this game. I really do. Even before I got to play the Overwatch Open Beta, I was following tons of videos on YouTube, following any news that came from it. But this wasn't from the beginning. This wasn't from the beginning at all. It was more so into, I think, about a year into the game's development when I believe that's when they started doing the closed beta. Don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, but it was around about when the closed beta started rolling out and videos started coming out, and I saw it and I went, wow, this is a new perspective on the multiplayer shooter genre and the new way that the competitive scene is going to be going in the future as a new idea, a new genre to come to possibly the esports scene, but also the just general casual competitive scene as a whole. Because myself, I've always considered myself not very good at the modern first-person shooter by any stretch of the imagination. I'm always seen as the player who is at the bottom of the table all the time, because I have a terrible KD ratio. I really do. I'm just terrible at first-person shooters. It just doesn't suit well with me. It just doesn't work with me. It just does not gel with me at all, because there's so many variables, so much twitch, so much capability with your mouse that you need to be able to do. And yes, and I know a lot of you are thinking, just point and click and shoot. That's not that easy for me. You see, it's not as dominant now as it used to be when I was a kid, but here's the truth of it all. I have minor dyspraxia, and also I have a tremor in my right hand. You can't see it that much because it hasn't set off that much, but yeah, when it goes off, and when it does go off at times, and including dyspraxia as well, my coordination is a little bit off. It's not as bad in my arms, where it's terrible in my legs, but it's kind of there in my arms. Anyway, rambling on. So this makes me kind of terrible at things where you need to be very precise pointing and shooting in any stretch of the imagination. But when I saw this game, when I saw it and looked at it and everything else, I saw how it played. I saw how the characters worked, and how it was a mesh of the first-person shooter genre and kind of the MOBA genre. Now, I've played some MOBA games in my time, more so Smite. I played a lot of that, and I do like the MOBA genre. I do like it. The only thing that stopped me from playing it is the community scared me off, unfortunately, because it's the unfortunate thing that no matter if you have a bad game, or if somebody else is having a bad game, or you're trying your damnedest and you're trying your damnedest and the other team is just naturally outplaying you, they are just better than you in every way, the community, somebody on the team would just get angry, report you, and there we go, and you would be punished for not being able to adapt and learn, for not being able to grow and being able to improve. It's just basically, you come into this game, and if you come into this game and you can't learn, you've got to be pros from the get-go. And that's kind of why those games scared me off. Smite less so, because I was there from the get-go, but after I left it for a few months and it just changed completely, it just terrified me. It just terrified me of how different it was and everything else. But rambling on again. This Overwatch is a game. Blizzard have looked at this game and gone, how can we make it fun competitive, accessible, but have a ability to go pro at the same time. And they just literally just looked at it and went, okay, the MOBA idea of having character classes and everything else and specific characters works. That works, and it works well. But what we've gotten rid of is the ability to level up that character in-game, the ability to buy power-up items and everything else. So there's no longer the pressure of needing to remember item setups and the proper way of doing meta for items. There is a leveling up system within the game, but instead of making your characters more powerful and everything else, thus imbalancing it, they've more so added a cosmetic value to it, and therefore earning all those voice lines, those highlight reels, the skins and everything. And that is a perfect idea, because that just makes me go, well, if I play this more, I'll get that sweet Junkrat skin. There are a number of characters in the game where precision shooting is key, but generally there are characters on the list where you just have to shoot in an area and blow things up, like Junkrat and Farah to a degree, and you can do it with Zarya as well. They made it more new player friendly, so that's what I'm happy about, and I'm hoping that the community, I mean, there will be some parts of the community that will go toxic. It's with every multiplayer game, but not to the degree that some MOBA games have, and it scares people off. So I'm hoping that doesn't go that way. I'm hoping, but we never know. There are always toxic people within multiplayer games. It's unavoidable. So anyway, some good points about it. This is a multiplayer game, definitely, which is more emphasis, I find, on it's more about focusing on the objective and actually winning the game instead. So it's more about win-loss ratio rather than your KD ratio, because I've found that in some games where there is some objective-based ability to win a game, the game always keeps focus on a KD ratio, so people just run off and get distracted and try and get that KD ratio high and kill off players. But the problem with that is people do get distracted and end up going for these players, and you will have other players going for the objective in games, sneaking around and just sitting at the objective and going, "Oh, we're winning now, so what of it?" So there's that is good overall. On top of which as well, the characters are nicely balanced, I find. I mean, some of you will disagree, I do admit, some of you will disagree. There can be some issues here and there, but I haven't had too many issues. I haven't had too many issues at all with character imbalances. I mean, there may be one that I would say, and some of you will say Bastion in the comment section if you're screaming and shouting at the moment, which you have a right to. There is Bastion is one that comes up a lot by people who say that he's imbalanced, and there's only one minor thing that I would say is a little bit imbalanced, and that is his setup time. It's a little bit fast, in my opinion. It's a little bit quick. I mean, just slow it down just a tiny bit, because the problem is that you have a lot of Bastion players in the game thinking they're invincible, and they kind of are, because you can just run into a Bastion and try and shoot him. You'll back off for half a second, and in that half a second he's set up and pointing his turret at you and mows you down. And it's a little bit annoying when that happens. It's a tiny bit annoying, but that's the only thing that I would say is, like, just lessen his setup time, and I'd be happy with that. But yeah, it's a fun game. It's a huge fun game. I have not been passionate about a game like this for a long time. A game that keeps me up until the late hours, playing to increase my wins, to get that successive victory, to clinch it with a overtime victory. I know some of you won't like the overtime, but it adds that interesting build. Think about it. Think about it from an esports perspective, not just a casual gamer perspective, but from an esports perspective. When this takes off as an esport, and I'm sure it will come down to, you will have your pro teams. I'm sure there will be a COG team. One of the COG teams will be there, for an example, and another example, I don't know. Let's say Team Liquid have a Overwatch team, and it comes down to the wire. Imagine this, it's coming down to the wire, it's the finals, and you have the attacking team, let's say COG. They're pushing so hard. They've pushed it hard, and they're getting to the final checkpoint. But then Team Liquid have a second wind, come round and push fucking hard defense on that last point, and it comes down to overtime. And both sides never give up. There's always one person there within it. There's always one person at that objective, staying there. Imagine that, just like, I don't know, 3 minutes of overtime where they're desperately holding onto that point. Imagine the desperation on the players' faces, all the effort that's going in, all the tense moments, all the all the plays that will be done with their supers, everything. Imagine it, guys. It would be possibly, Blizzard have possibly formed a very tense and very entertaining esport in its own right, and I can see this happening. I can see it happening, and it will be fantastic to watch. I have no complaint. I will be watching. If Overwatch gets to the state that I hope it does, I will be watching a lot of the pro streams, because it's less about the builds, it's less about builds, it's less about leveling your character in a specific way. It's more so about the skill, the tactics, the ability to pick a moment to play, to make a play, and just clinching it at the right moment, just formulating as a team and pushing it and locking it down. And I am looking forward to everything that is going to come out of the pro scene with this, I guarantee. One of the main downsides with the open beta that I found is that it's young. It's a young game. And that's not really a complaint, that's just the way it is at the moment. But when this game, like Overwatch itself, Overwatch literally does everything to signal to you what you're missing, what you need to have a cohesion and a team structure. I'm happy to play whatever class is when needed. I am honestly happy to do that. If nobody's confident with healer, I will play support. If people are not happy getting in people's faces, disrupting and distracting people, I will play tank. I will take up the offensive roles, defensive roles. I will do what is necessary, and I will pick the characters that need to be there to counter. However, I have been in a lot of games where people have gone into it, looked at a situation. We've had people slowly picking characters, and it slowly goes. I've one off the top of my head which happened. We had suddenly somebody picks McCree, so that's fine. They pick McCree, that's good. And then suddenly somebody picks a Widowmaker. Fine, that is fine. Picked a Widowmaker. And then suddenly 2 Genjis. Okay, fair enough. A Genji, 2 Genjis, fine. And obviously there's me and there's one other guy. So the logical sense would be to pick a tank and a support. He doesn't do that. He picks a Pharah, and then I'm left with the problem of going support or tank. And the other problem is that the 2 Genjis, it doesn't work. It honestly doesn't work, because we didn't have anybody to... We had... A Genji is good to run around, swarm around the backline, sneak around, jump in, kill people when they're not noticing. But you need a tank to be there, but you also need a main frontline offensive character. And that can be... Well, obviously we have Farah, who hits the punch, but you need somebody like... From my understanding, you need a Soldier 76 just to be there, just to riddle bullets. Or you need... what would be another good one to fill that field? A Reaper to be going mid, because I find myself that Reaper is somebody who is continuously in the main battlefield, but he's the cloak in the main battlefield. He's not like the outstretched arms like Tracer and Genji, who go out there and sneak around. He's somebody who jumps in and messes around with the main front line, because his shotguns are freaking powerful and they hit hard as trucks, so they can scare off a tank or two if necessary. So that's just my opinion, but it's like also you could have benefits of having a Junkrat or a good Bastion placement or something like that, just to mix it up. But there's always that focus. A lot of people in this, it's new, so I can't really complain that much, but the thing is that the closed beta has been out for a while, and there's been a lot of videos out there, and the information on how to play it is there. So the common sense factor is having a bunch of hit and run characters with a lot of snipers as well. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win, because there's nobody there to hold objectives, there's nobody there to get in the faces of people, there's nobody there to hold the mid ground, and it's really disheartening to see, because when you're trying your hardest to maintain the team, and when you're trying your best and you're in the front lines and holding, and everybody else is in different places, separated, because they're trying to get that decent sniper shot to get the KD and everything else, and it's so disheartening to see that it's just you there at the objective trying to hold it and nobody else is there. And it's so sad to see. So sad to see when that happens. So overall with this game, I'm very, very happy with it. Very happy. And I'm looking forward to the full release. I will possibly do live streams. I will possibly do... I will definitely do like a continuous series. This game will probably be a mainstay on this channel. I love this game so much. I really do. It's just so much fun, and it's fun, and I just love it in every way. I just really do. It's a fantastic game to play. And if you're not playing it, by the time this goes up, you will have 1 day left to try it. Just try it. That's all I can say. Just try it. Even if you're not a first-person shooter fan, give it a shot, okay? Because there are characters in this where your ability to shoot doesn't count much, because there's Mercy, who's a healer, and if any of you have played TF2, you know what the healer class is. That's what Mercy is. She's got a damage boost and a heal, and you chase around your teammates and you heal them up. On top of which, as well, you have characters like Reinhardt, Winston, who else? You have Reinhardt, Winston, Junkrat, would you say Roadhog? Roadhog, kind of, but then again, you do have to point. You have to point, but so you do have to do the same with everything. But that's what I mean. What I mean is that you don't have to be precision. It's wide berth, so you just point in a direction, in an approximate direction of your opponent, and shoot, and something will hit them. So it's great. It's a good game. I highly recommend it, 100%. I'm hoping all of you who have been watching will be playing it and just be up in the ante with it, and it's going to be good. There's a couple of things as well. Before I finish off, sorry, a little bit more. A couple of things as well. I want to ask you guys. Because I want to get a good average ability with all the characters. A very good average ability with all the characters. So, and there are some characters who I have problems with because they don't quite gel with me. So any of you guys can give me tips and pointers on a certain amount of characters, that would be great. So here are the characters I have issues with. So McCree, I get that he has stun and hammer ability, which is his main go-to, but I feel a bit limited. I really do, and I want to be able to do more. I want to see more of his options. So if you guys can tell me a couple of pointers for him, like what to do, where to go, because I don't feel like really fully relying on the stun hammer combo, the wombo, but I want to be able to wander around, know where I need to be, know what I need to do, know what abilities I need to use to destroy people. So that's one of my questions. One of my character questions. The other character that I have kind of issues with is D.Va. I play tanks a lot, and I want to be able to have a good standing with all the tanks, and D.Va just doesn't quite fit with me as a character. She's very complicated as a tank, because once the mech is gone, you're not a tank anymore. You're not a tank, and it complicates things for me as a tank player. So just give me some pointers on what I need to do with her as well, and how to play her. What else is there? The two characters I definitely have problems with, because it's precise precision shooting, is Black Widow and Hanzo. I know that is generally down to my capability to shoot, but I'm trying to think how to find him to be useful instead of the classical go find a spot and sit in it. I want to be able to be useful to a team, being able to be useful as a sniper in team fights. So if you can give me pointers with that one as well, I will try and do that. If you want me to show you improvements with these characters, please let me know. I will do videos on me trying to improve with these characters and do the best that I can in one way or another. But anyway, overall, including a little clips series somewhere down there showing a bit of the gameplay. Overall, I love this game. I hope to do more with it in the future, and I will do. There will be more of it on this channel. My final thoughts: amazing game. I love it to pieces. I don't have that many qualms with it. No issues. I mean, hopefully in the future there will be more expanding of more game modes, and obviously more characters, but I can't really make a judgment on that yet because it's open beta and everything else in the game hasn't been out that long, so I can't really make any pros or cons about that anyway. So anyway, leaving it there for today. If you like this video, give that like button a poke. If you're brand new to the channel, smack that subscribe button like a badass. Check out all the other content that I've done if you enjoy This video is a bit different from what I usually do, but if you like insanity and madness, check out all the other content. And I'm going to leave you with a play of the game that I didn't expect to get. So, see you later.
Play of the game.